All right, welcome back. Time now for a little run and shoot, and that was Giants head coach Ben McAdoo after the game last night, a victory over the Broncos, and why he decided to hand over the play calling duties to Mike Sullivan. John, what is he talking about? I mean, he's the head coach of the team.
They needed him this week.
I mean, should he be there for the entire team each and every week throughout the course of the NFL season? I get the idea of handing over the play calling duties to Sullivan, and that's been a topic of discussion for well over 2 to 3 weeks here. But after the game, that made no sense. I mean, Ben, you're the head coach of the team.
Moose, okay, here's what I think I've learned about McAdoo after 5 weeks or 6 weeks of the season, right? He's not very comfortable at that pulpit after the game because he says things that, like, you're the head coach. You should be there for the team every week.
Right.
That's why you're the head coach. If you were the offensive coordinator, then you don't need to be there for the team, right? Does that make sense? And yeah, they made the right move moving Sullivan. Look, Moose, I'm going to go on record and say this. That was the most surprising result I've seen in a crazy NFL season.
Yeah.
I did not expect the Giants offense to show up as it did. I did not expect the D to play as well as it did. Denver, a very difficult place to play if you've got a Super Bowl team going in there. The Giants had one of the worst records in the NFL going in there. I am really shocked by the result, but I will give the Giants credit. They played very, very well. Denver didn't really have their A game. Still a tough place to win. The Giants found a way to run the ball. They found an offensive line combination that worked. And the defense between JPP and Jenkins, the big guys, really showed up, and they came away with the W.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, forced 3 turnovers. Jenkins had the pick 6 toward the end of the first half that kind of broke the back and the spirit of the Denver Broncos, so you love to see that. You mentioned run the football. They ran for over 140 yards as a team. Straight north and south runs, not getting fancy. You're trying to go east and west. Darkwa went over 100 yards on the ground. You love the guard combination. Listen, DJ Fluker is a terrible pass blocker, but he is a good run blocker and a road grader, and learned that when he was blocking for the Crimson Tide and for Nick Saban in Alabama. You put all that into it, I'm stunned. I mean, you throw in the injuries. You know, no Odell Beckham Jr., no Shepard, no Marshall, no Dwayne Harris. You look at the guys that missed the game, no Weston Richburg, no Olivier Vernon. Everybody basically saying that this team is lifeless. The distractions of the week, suspending DRC. Jenkins walking off the field before the game was over last week against the Los Angeles Chargers. Concern about the culture question with Eli Apple. And they go into Denver, and they don't just beat Denver. Honestly, they were so far superior than the Denver Broncos. You said, John, where was this team the first 5 weeks of the year?
Yeah, I wish I could answer that question because the last 3 weeks have been must-wins, and they came up big last night. But, Moose, when you look at that offensive set, when they laid all the tight ends out there, Denver hadn't seen that formation. Now, you would think they have no wide receivers. Of course they're going to trip up on the tight ends, but it worked for this team.
It did.
You could feel the pressure leaving Eli Manning's shoulders as the game went on. They just ran the ball down their throats, and I think the Giants should continue to do that. Let teams match up with that multiple tight end formation. And on the defensive side of the ball, we said all along this defense was good enough to win games on its own. Well, last night was the perfect formula. They got a lead. They stuck to it. The defense held it in check. The big players coming up at big times. And this is the team, although it's not the team I envisioned because there's no Beckham, no Shepard, no Marshall, but it was the type of result I thought the Giants would be getting a lot of this year against lesser teams that they're going to play moving forward. But a big win for Big Blue.
And maybe it's the frustration of being 0-5. Maybe it's the fact that everyone has basically said they're irrelevant. The season's over. Maybe they showed you, as Coughlin would say when he was the Giant coach, a little good old-fashioned Giants pride, because that's what you saw last night after an embarrassing start to the year. The expectations coming into it. They went into the Broncos, and I don't know if it's a sign of things to come. I highly doubt it is. They got the Seahawks next Sunday, early game out at MetLife Stadium. Put all that aside. What they showed you last night is they picked themselves up, dusted themselves off, and won a football game, which they found a very, very difficult task to accomplish the first 5 weeks.
And I think that the Seattle game is going to be a great test because they showed what they can do against a very good defense in Denver. Seattle, a very good defense coming in. They know now what the Giants' new scheme is going to be. Let's see how McAdoo or Sullivan counterattacks that Seattle defense, because the Seattle offense is not very good this year, which makes this a winnable, I can't believe I'm saying it, but a winnable game for the Giants.
Yeah, and you know what? It should continue. continue. Sullivan should continue to call plays.
Agreed.
I know that McAdoo was asked that question after the game last night. He said, I'm not going to commit to it. We did it this week. Sullivan should continue to coach, to call the offensive plays. It worked last night. You like the rhythm. You like the simplistic aspect to it as well. You mentioned the different formations that they showed. They tried to effectively run the football. Maybe they found something a little bit here with Darkwa, and they're not going to be able to throw it all over the lot. So if you're McAdoo and you're looking at all aspects of the team, which you should be doing week in and week out as Giant head coach, you know what? It worked last night. You should keep it moving forward. Keep Sullivan calling plays week in and week out.
Yes, McAdoo should continue to look out for the entire team
Right, as
if
head
they
coach.
keep playing like that.